Well, Devils fans, we asked you to submit questions for new Devils head coach Mark Dennehy, and just about 100 submissions came in since Friday until now, so a lot of people anxious to get going here on hockey season, and Mark is so kind to join us right now. And Mark, how are things going for you, getting ready to head overseas for a big tournament?
Yeah, kind of drinking out of a fire hose a little bit here. A lot going on, but it's all good. Really thrilled to hit the ground running here. I'm going to be representing the United States as part of a coaching staff that's going to take 20 of the best 2002 birth dates for a 5-team tournament. But I'll also be on the job with the Devils. Thankfully, you don't have to be in New Jersey or in Binghamton to work. So, familiarizing myself with the roster, with schedule, still need to find an apartment. So we've got plenty to do, but we still have plenty of time to do it.
Definitely look forward to having you here in Binghamton. So we're going to get started. We had fans submit questions. We opened up the Devils mailbag and picked a couple out here, and we'll run down them. So let's get started. We have Brandon who chimed in. Which AHL team are you looking forward to coaching against the most?
Wow, that's a great question. You know what? I think it's always the ones you're most familiar with. So, having spent some time in the Pittsburgh organization and gotten to know Clark Donatelli and J.D. Forrest, and then also having grown up in the Boston area and knowing the type of teams that Providence puts on the ice with Coach Jay Leach, those are two for sure. But, we better be excited for every AHL opponent because, everything I've been told, it's just a fantastic league and, we're looking to have some success. So, but those are two teams for sure, just based on familiarity.
We're going to go. This is Zachary, age 9, and this was actually one of my favorite questions and better than anything I've ever asked. As a new coach for a new team, what is one way to get to know your new players best?
Wow. Zachary's got a future ahead of him.
He's gunning for me.
Journalism. That's a fantastic question. You know what? There's so many different ways. Whether it's over the telephone, texting back and forth, watching video of players, which is something that we'll do prior to the season. I prefer the old-fashioned way, which is just sitting down with people and talking with them, getting a sense of what their goals are, what they think their strengths and weaknesses are, and then as I get to know them more. Hopefully we're on the same page. Hopefully after coaching them for a little bit and understanding or having an appreciation for what I think their strengths and weaknesses are, and seeing their passions on a day-to-day basis, that I've got a better understanding and that we're both on the same page. I think that's something that's really important. And whenever I've been a part of successful teams, the coach's understanding of the players and just as importantly, their own understanding of themselves and their game are very they're very much in line.
This one comes in from Charles. What is your goal for the Binghamton Devils this season?
Well, there's two parts to this. This is a developmental league, and as I said, in the press conference, one of my main jobs is to get these players prepared for the next level. To help them become the best they can be as individuals and to hopefully continue with the culture that exists coming down from New Jersey or up from New Jersey, I guess, geographically speaking. But also part of that is winning. Part of development is winning. We're not trying to develop losers. So it's twofold in terms of goals. And so, hey, the best time of the year, the two best times of the year are the start of the season when you're excited, everything's fresh, you're 0-0, and the start of the playoffs. So, I mean, one of the goals has got to be to make the playoffs. I mean, that's, you want to be in the dance, so to speak.
I know you kind of answered this question in the press conference with local media via telephone, but Justin asks, what kind of play style can we expect from you and the Devils this season?
Sure. Well, it's all gonna trickle down or trickle up again from New Jersey. The way that Coach Hines and Ray Shero and Tommy Fitz want the New Jersey team to play. I think one of the reasons that maybe I was an attractive candidate is that our teams at Merrimack played hard. We were hard to play against. Lawler Arena, while I was there for 13 years, was one of the more difficult places for teams to come in and get points. And we want to do the same in Binghamton. We want to be a hard team to play against. We want to play fast. We want to pressure pucks. And we want to get the puck going north as quickly as we can. So those are some of the things that I know are important to John Hines and to the Devils organization. And it just so happens that it's a style of play that I'm pretty familiar with.
Bob Dell asks, what areas do you see coaching in the AHL being a lot different or most challenging for you, different from the NCAA?
I think just the grind of it. I read a great article today about a friend of mine, Dan Muse, whose first year of professional coaching professionals, was with Nashville Predators this year. He was in the USHL the year before. And one of the things he said was, in reading the article, it's a blessing and it's a challenge that it's every other day. I mean, it's professional hockey, the AHL, it's a grind. And so, coming from college where you'd have 4 days to prepare for 2 games on a Friday, Saturday, that's not the case now. And so, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself physically. You've got to make sure that you're getting your rest and your players are doing the same. And just, I'm sure I'll get into a rhythm. It'll be preparing for the next opponent, day of the game, and then post-game wrap-up, and then guess what? It starts again the next day. So, but that's also one of the things I'm looking forward to is it's nothing but hockey. I'm not trying to raise money for, from alumni. I don't have to deal with NCAA compliance. It's hockey 24/7, 365. But a large chunk of that 365, you're on the go. So I think the grind is probably one of the things that I'm aware of, and one of the things that I want to make sure that I pay attention to and stick with.
A lot of good young prospects in the system, and Thomas is wondering, of those, who are you most excited about and the future of the team and organization itself, with 11 draft picks last year and tons this year as well?
Yeah, I'm going to let the chips kind of fall where they may. I'm excited to coach all of them. And that's, it's like asking somebody who their favorite child is. I've got 3 daughters, and you love them each for different reasons. Obviously I've got a familiarity with Brett Seanei. I love his compete. I love his dynamic play. But I'm also, Joey Anderson is a guy that we played against last year in Duluth. So I'm a little bit familiar with his game as well. Kevin Rooney's a guy I know. Mike Kapla is a guy I know. So Brian Straight's a guy that I coached against at the collegiate level. So, you're going to love each one of these players for different reasons. And really my goal isn't to pick favorites. It's to help each one of these players be the best they can be and be as prepared as they can be if and when they get the call up.
You kind of answered a little bit of the next one, but Joe wants to know, how cool is it that Brett Seanei is here and you're here? And then I remember you being at the game that he scored his first pro goal. I believe there was a Syracuse game here at home.
Yeah, you know what? I think the funny part of this is Brett doesn't want to play for me. He wants to play for John Hines. And that's exactly how it should be. But I also know, just in correspondence with him, that there's a level of trust there, so that, if he doesn't make the big club right away and he's in Binghamton, I know he's going to be excited to be there. He had a great experience at the end of last year. got some really good experience. Was really enjoyed playing for Rick and for Sergey, and so there's a level of trust there. But again, the goal is to get him prepared, as it is for a lot of these guys, for the next level.
All right, and we're going to put a little pressure on you here. I'm assuming this might be your brother, Matt Dennehy. He wants to know, would you say that your brother, Matt, is the best looking out of the three of you?
Oh, that's great. Well, he's going to get scolded the next time I talk to him. We're going to have to go over the social media protocol. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that he's the best looking, but the bar's not very high. I mean, it's, none of us are working with much. We've all outkicked our coverage. Let's put it that way. Carried very well.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff. Now, Coach, looking forward to getting you here in Binghamton, and I guess I'll have a couple questions for you here. What are you most excited about? With the pro level. I know you mentioned a lot of challenges, the travel, not playing the same team twice in a row, which does happen quite a bit at the college ranks. But what in overall getting started here on the ice in Binghamton at the pro level?
Well, I think one of the things I'm really excited people that I'm going to get a chance to work with, whether it's Sergey or whether it's John Hines in training, Tom Harold on a daily basis. These are all, at the end of the day, organizations, the successful ones, are built with successful people. So from ownership to Ray Shero on down, and so I come into this, as I said, this train's moving in the right direction, and I think I'm getting on at the right time. But it's moving in the right direction because we've got some really incredible people, not just the players, but throughout the organization. And I think I'm going to learn a ton, and that's got me really excited. I know how important hockey is to Binghamton, and that's really neat as well. To be the pro hockey franchise in the area, I think is fantastic. Like you mentioned earlier, I've been to a Binghamton game last year. I went up and watched them play Syracuse, and great crowd. You guys weren't even in the playoffs at that point. You'd already been eliminated, but a great crowd. A lot of spirit there. The team played hard, actually got a win. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
You kind of stole the next question a little bit, which is totally fine with me, but you're somewhat used to playing in these smaller, louder environments.
Yeah, well, hopefully we keep having this kind of kismet, Rob, where you're leading me in one direction and I'm following with the questions. But you know what? We've played in big buildings, whether it's Engelstadt in North Dakota, where it seats 11,000, or we played in our building at Merrimack at the time was 2,500 seats. So you get a little bit of everything, and some great environments. But I'm really looking forward to being in some of these AHL rinks. I was in Binghamton, fantastic environment. I've been to Providence. I've been to Springfield. My family and I were in Hershey, Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago and saw the facility there. And then I've had a lot of former players play in a lot of these buildings. So I've got a little bit of a sense, but it's a lot different than when you're on the bench looking up at a packed crowd.
Exactly. Now, I'm a big college hockey fan, so I got to ask, and I won't put any pressure on you. Obviously, Merrimack's your favorite rink to play in, but on the road, favorite or toughest rink to play in for you?
Well, I mean, I would say my favorite rink is probably Conti, right? I mean, that's where I played my hockey, so had some really good experiences at Boston College's facility. In terms of I mean, there's some really great venues, and it's hard to pick. I'll say in terms of the Hockey East, what Norm Bazin's done at Lowell. Lowell's turned into a great environment, a tough place to play. In my ECAC days, there was no harder place to play than Lina. The Cornell faithful really bring a lot of life to that building. And ironically, when I took the Merrimack job 13 years ago, That's what I thought Lawler could be, is a lineup, because it's all rink and the fans are right on top. And, we may not have gotten all there, but we got pretty close.
Awesome. Coach, I'll let you go, but thanks for checking in with us, and we definitely we're looking forward to having you out here and meeting all the fans and hanging out with us here before the start of the season.
Really looking forward to that too, as well, Rob. Looking forward to meeting the fans. Looking forward to getting on the ice. We're actually we'll be on the ice August 10th with the O2s, and so I'm going to be all revved up and hockey ready by the time training camp comes around.
We'll be keeping an eye on the tournament, Coach. Thanks for talking with us here.
Thanks again, Rob.